How's it going, everybody? Nerds Rising here, and welcome back to the Nerd Cave. In today's video, I have some absolutely incredible battles for you guys, featuring a best buddy, level 51 Avalugg, a level 50 Gyarados, and a level 50 Florges in the Open Master Premier Cup. And not only are we witnessing some awesome team building here, but we're going to be witnessing some insanely high-level battles by a very talented battler, DrLuv. And for those of you guys who are on the PvP Fight Club Facebook page, you know him, you love him. This man is very, very good at the game, and he very regularly comes up with these original teams, and not only hits Legend with them, but also hits the leaderboards with him. And if you take a look at his elo down there at the bottom, he's sitting at 3365 right now, and that does put him like in the 300s on the elo leaderboards right now. So this man will not disappoint with these battles. And if you take a look at his team comp there, he is running a little bit different style team than many people oftentimes use. ABB style teams tend to be some of the more common types of teams, but this team doesn't necessarily play like an ABB style team, because if you look at the back line there, the Gyarados and the Florges are going to have some pretty different coverage. They're not the same type, and they're definitely not the same coverage, so can't really safe switch in most situations to draw out something like you would with an ABB style team. So what he likes to do with this team is actually stay in with the Avalugg, and he's more than willing to commit multiple shields on the lead to basically guarantee himself switch advantage. And then with switch advantage and the correct alignment, his backline will absolutely destroy the opponent's backline. So you guys are going to witness some very, very high-level plays, and obviously in the high 3000s, you're going to be facing off against some very talented opponents as well. As you see, the first battle here is with ChillisFM, another very talented content creator. So you're going to witness some really nice plays on both sides, and really a very unique style of play that really, really works out for this trainer. So thank you again to DrLuv for sending these in, because without these battles, you guys were not going to be seeing any Master League content from me, because I have like 2 level 41 Mons, and that's about it. So that being said, let's check out some very high level battles by a very high level player. So hopping into the first one right away here, we've got Avalugg on the lead into a Dragonite. So amazing lead here. Unfortunate for ChillisFM, and they are going to safe switch into a Mamoswine. And the nice thing about this situation is that Florges, you could argue, has an even better matchup than the Avalugg. So there's no really reason for him to switch out of here. Exactly. He's going to shield the first one, recognizing that high-level opponents are going to be unlikely to bait on the first move. So he shields a high horsepower here, and after shielding that, his Ice Fangs are going to be doing so much damage that he's easily going to be able to take switch here. And I think the opponent recognizes that and just lets it go. And he's easily going to be able to tank this high horsepower here and then just farm down. And Chillis might be thinking that his Dragonite's going to be pretty safe, now that this Avalugg is low, but he does not know that there's a Florges waiting in the back for it. So we'll have to see what he brings in here. And he actually brings in a Metagross. So this is absolutely perfect for DrLuv here, because he can land this Crunch and then align his Waterfall Gyarados to it. And actually looks like he might even get to another Crunch, and he does get to another Crunch, which is absolutely incredible. Is the opponent going to commit their last shield here? And they just let it go, probably thinking Dragonite with 2 shields is going to crush this backline, but he's not ready for the Florges. And the opponent concedes the match. So very well played in the first game. And that's just the tip of the iceberg again, guys, because you're going to see some very, very high-level plays. So Mamoswine in the next lead. And again, like I mentioned before, he's more than willing here to stay into these leads in neutral situations and just make sure he gets switch advantage. So again, recognizing that a high level opponent's going to be probably unlikely to bait on the first move, especially against a very bulky mon like Avalugg. So shields the first one, correctly shields the high horsepower, and now he's just going to go for body slams. Again, the opponent does let it go, maybe trying to call an avalanche bait, but he is running crunch and body slam as well, which is nice. Some extra nice coverage there, and just going to farm this thing all the way down. And he has switch advantage. Even though he's down to shield, he has switch advantage. And once again, there is a Metagross, which is absolutely perfect. So if he loses switch advantage, that Metagross gets aligned to his Florges, but he has switch, and actually he gets the crunch debuff there. Does the opponent respect the second crunch? This actually might KO if the opponent lets this go. And the Avalugg just straight up takes out Metagross. And again, the opponent was saving 2 shields for Dragonite, and Florges just comes in and shuts it all down. What, what a game, and what an absolute read there by DrLuv, just recognizing how important switch advantage is for this team. So he has a Florges in the next battle, and this one actually looks like it might be slightly underleveled. But again, he's just recognizing here that against a very bulky mon, Florges is probably going to go for the Moonblast, so shields the Moonblast, and the opponent just brings in a Waterfall Gyarados here. So again, this is not a terrible situation. Probably will just stay in and chip this thing away, and just basically make sure that he can maintain alignment. So I'm guessing he'll probably throw a move, and then probably be looking to switch out, and he does. Very nicely done there, and probably just going to commit to a full Waterfall down, knowing that he can tank a move here. And actually, he does respect it, maybe thinking that the opponent is another Mad Lad running Outrage. Because if you notice, he is actually running Outrage and Aqua Tail. So, and actually, it looks like this Outrage may have a chance to land here. Does the opponent respect it? Probably going to be thinking this is a crunch here. And he actually lands the Outrage, nearly one-shotting the Garchomp with 2 shields. And the opponent is hanging on to 2 shields. But now this under-level Florges has to take on basically all 3 of his mons, and there's just no way. This is a GG. There's just no way this Florges is going to be able to output enough damage to take out the Gyarados and the rest of the Avalugg. And yeah, this game is over. So very nicely done there. That time, I think it was the spicy Outrage there that caught the opponent off guard. If the opponent shields that, I still think he's fine because he has a full Florges for that Garchomp, and Garchomp really doesn't have a lot of play against Florges, so really he had that game in the bag from the beginning. But as you see, look at Avalugg. They're just tanking these Moonblasts like it's nothing, and Ice Fangs down for the win. So very nicely played there. And we're hopping into the next one. We've got Avalugg into a Tyranitar, so this could be a bit tricky depending on the moveset here. We'll have to see if it's running Bite or Smackdown, and it is running Smackdown, so this is not a great situation for Avalugg, but the Gyarados isn't going to necessarily want to take these Smackdowns either, so we'll have to see how he decides to play this. Looks like he's going to go straight for the Body Slam. Probably recognizing that the opponent wasn't going to shield that. So he chips first and then brings in the Gyarados. And this makes sense because now that he's chipped this a little bit, these waterfalls are going to add up quite a bit and probably going to force the Tyranitar to switch out. We'll have to see what he decides to do. And yeah, I think the Tyranitar might have gotten farmed down, and they actually bring an Excadrill into a loaded waterfall Gyarados. So that's a very interesting decision by the opponent there. I wonder what they have in the back if they're bringing an Excadrill into this matchup. And yeah, just going to commit a shield here. Again, like I said before, he's more than happy to commit early shields to maintain alignment. And at the very least here, he's going to force this last shield and then probably force the Excadrill to throw right away. So we'll have to see. And they do shield, and they probably will have to throw right here. Yeah, they throw just before he gets to his next Aqua Tail. But now I'm thinking that Avalugg can probably come in and farm down before it has to get hit with another Rock Slide. And we'll have to see. And yeah, he does farm down. And my guess is that Tyranitar is probably going to come back in. But he should probably be able to get to a move before this T-Tar. We'll have to see. And yeah, he does just barely outpace. And I think this Body Slam should just about KO. So this is very nice to get rid of this T-Tar. And unfortunately, they live on 1 HP. And they get to a move. So this is a little unfortunate because if the opponent's team building makes sense, they actually have a Shadow Swampert. I was going to say, if they're running something that weak to Fairy on the lead, you would expect them to have a very nice answer to a Fairy in the back, but they actually have a Shadow Swampert, so not what I was expecting to see. I was actually kind of worried it might have been a Metagross after I saw that that Excadrill safe switch, but they actually are running Swampert, so looks like 2 disarming voices should KO here, and I don't think that the opponent's going to be able to get to a Hydro Cannon and an Earthquake, because, yeah, this should just be a Hydro Cannon, and I think Florges should just barely live it, and they do, so very nicely done there. XL Florges is pretty bulky, and by the way, this is a team that actually DrLuv hit Legend with in the Premier Classic earlier in the season, and then this man level 50s it, and is now hitting the leaderboards with it in the current meta, so very impressive. And we're running into a Dragonite here in the next battle, and the opponent switches into another Waterfall Gyarados, and again, we've seen how he likes to play this out. He has that flexibility, knowing that his Florges is in the back, so really all he has to do is commit shields and maintain switch advantage, and he should be just fine here, so probably going to shield exactly. He shields that. And as you saw, the opponent actually shielded the Body Slam as well, which is very nice. So my guess is he probably will try to go for the Crunch on this one. And actually just going to go for the Body Slams. Probably a bit safer, knowing that probably after the Ice Fangs go off, probably 2-3 Body Slams would KO the Gyarados. And they actually do let that go. So now just going to shield and farm down. And now he has alignment. And really, even if the Dragonite was running Hurricane, there's just absolutely nothing that Dragonite can do to a Florges. And the opponent has a Metagross in the back. Yet again, guys, this man is just reading these lines left and right. And he's going to get the Crunch off on the Metagross. And then the Metagross is going to be locked into a very, very healthy Waterfall Gyarados. And there's just nothing that it's going to be able to do, because XL Gyarados comfortably tanks 2 Meteor Mashes. And the opponent brings back in the Dragonite. They see the Florges and they top left. This man is putting on an absolute masterclass for us right now, guys. And these battles, that was a 5-5 right there. A 5-0, excuse me. And these battles are in like the 3100s. So this man is just core breaking people left and right with this Avalugg. So that was a 5-0. He's going into the next set here, and he's got a Waterfall Gyarados on the lead. So pretty neutral. We'll have to see how he plays this. My guess is we're going to see him play this very similarly. I can't speak it. Actually, he lets that one go. So that might be the first time I've actually seen him let one of those moves go. Maybe just recognizing that if they're going for the Crunch, he would want to let the first one go in case they get the debuff, which they did get. And the opponent safe switches into a Shadow Gardevoir. So he chips first. And because of that chip damage, he actually is able to come in with his Gyarados and farm all the way down. So very nicely done. And I'm guessing they probably are going to bring back in their own Gyarados. And my guess is they're probably not going to respect this Outrage. Probably thinking it's going to be a Crunch. Does the opponent respect the Outrage? And they don't. And it lands. And now I think he can probably shield and fully Waterfall down. And that's exactly what he's going to do, it looks like. And now he's got basically, again, 2.5 Mons versus the backline. And the opponent actually has a Metagross in the back. So this is going to be a bit tricky now, because all he has left is shreds of Gyarados and a little bit of the Avalugg. And Florges is going to have to put in a lot of work here, it looks like. But he does get to a Crunch here, which is very nice. So at the very least, going to force a shield from this Metagross. And the Metagross calls it. He calls the Body Slam, probably thinking he's running Body Slam Avalanche. And now the opponent is going to lose with 2 shields. And they didn't even get to see that there was a Florges in back. So the opponent was completely taken off guard by the Crunch there. And wow, what a game. I was thinking that one was looking a little bit dicey, but manages to pull it off anyway, so very nicely done. So we've got looks like a Florges on the lead there. And then the opponent brings in a Shadow Snorlax. So Shadow Snorlax is very strong. Doesn't have a clear response. So gonna chip and then bring in the Florges. That makes sense. Knowing that probably after that chip damage, I would imagine Moonblast will probably put this into Fairy Wind downrange. We'll have to see. And yeah, the Snorlax actually lets that go. So probably going to be able to Fairy Wind down. Very likely going to have to commit a shield here, I would imagine. But then should probably just be able to farm down. The Snorlax probably does get to 1 more Body Slam. Yeah, they do get to 1 more Body Slam, but that's fine, because Florges should be able to tank this pretty comfortably. Then I think he should be able to farm down here before the opponent gets to another one. We'll have to see. And no, the Snorlax actually lives on like 2 HP and does get to another Body Slam. But again, I think Florges can tank this damage. Pretty bulky at level 50. So tanks that. And now, again, he maintains switch advantage here, which is very, very key. And he has the back-to-back disarming win. So just going to get these off right away. Not going to take any chances over farming. I think he actually was at 100 energy there anyway. And not going to risk trying to go for the Moonblast here. Just going to get the second one off, get some guaranteed damage. And my guess is he's probably going to bring back in the Avalugg here, I would imagine. We'll have to see what he decides to do here. Probably not going to want to reveal his last Mon, and yeah, exactly. So we'll have to see. Probably going to be a Moonblast. Is he going to be committing his last shield? No, just going to let it go. Save a shield for the Gyarados, and we'll have to see what the opponent has in back. It would make sense if they have an answer for steel types in the back, like maybe something like a Waterfall Gyarados of their own, or possibly an Excadrill. So we'll have to see what they have in the back. They have to have some sort of answer for Florges' counters, which is going to be a Metagross. So I'm thinking it's probably going to be a Gyarados, and it's actually an Ursaluna. And this is actually really bad for him, because even though he has some health left on this Avalugg, the Ursaluna is going to have access to Thunder Punch here. And Thunder Punch is going to be doing a lot of damage to this Gyarados, and he's now shieldless, so this is going to be very close. I don't think this quite one-shots, but the question is, can he get to this Aqua Tail before the Ursaluna gets to 2 Thunder Punches? Going to be very close, and they do just barely get there, and I'm not sure that his Avalugg is quite healthy enough to farm this thing down. This might actually be a loss here. We'll have to see, and yeah, he is going to get tackled down. So you've seen it here, guys. This team is beatable, but so far, we have seen this man put on an absolute clinic. So, does get the loss, but you know what? Everybody loses, and hats off to the opponent for running a shiny Ursaluna in back. Very cool. So, he sees another Florges here in the next battle. And again, going to shield the first, recognizing it's probably going to be a Moonblast, and does correctly shield the Moonblast. And now, since he shielded the big move, can probably just go straight Body Slam and win that matchup. The opponent's actually going to switch into a Dragon Tail Milotic here. So, going to chip, and then probably going to bring in his Florges there, because Florges has a very nice matchup against the Dragon Tail variant of the Milotic, because Dragon Tails are going to be double resisted. So, going to bring in his own Florges, going to just send the Moonblast here, probably expecting a no shield, and does. But unfortunately, Milotic is very, very bulky, especially at level 50. I'm not sure actually if this is level 50 or not. I don't know the CP cap on it, but actually shields the Hyper Beam there as well. I was going to say he can probably let that go if he wants to, but recognizes that the opponent, again, going to be very unlikely to bait on such a bulky Mon. So even though he's down 2 shields, he has taken out a full Milotic and half of the opponent's Florges, and basically still has 3 full health Mons. So very unique style of playing, but as you see, it's working out very nicely, and the opponent actually tried to call a Disarming Voice bait and gets hit with the Moonblast. So the Florges is very low, and now basically the opponent has 2 shields and his Snorlax to take on the rest of DrLuv's team here. So I think he's honestly in a very comfortable position here. Can just go straight Aqua Tail, and the opponent is going to have to start shielding here. And really, unless the Snorlax is running something super spicy, yeah, just Body Slam, then this is going to probably take at least 1 more Body Slam and some licks to take care of this Gyarados. So going to just stay in, just spam off these Aqua Tails, and this game is honestly over, because I think the opponent, yeah, the opponent has to throw right away, and now can probably just come in and probably just farm all the way down with Avalugg. That's my guess. I'm actually just going to come in with the Florges here, so this makes sense as well, recognizing that the opponent would probably superpower him if he brings in the Avalugg. And was that actually a CMP tie? It kind of looked like it was a CMP tie, and it was a CMP tie, so this is absolutely perfect. So now that he's forced the opponent to throw the energy, now he can bring in the Avalugg, fully farm down if he wants to, and may actually just throw the Body Slam there to be safe. So yeah, keeping track of his energy so well there, switching in and out, pivoting around these teams, and now this Florges just does not have enough health to take care of the rest of this team, because honestly a Moonblast is not even a KO from here. And yeah, Avalugg is just going to fully farm this thing down if it wants to, and that's going to be a GG. So very well played here by DrLuv. You guys are seeing some very, very high level plays right now, and I think we can all really learn something from the style that he uses, because again, I typically run ABB style teams where I'm more than happy to give up switch and take a shield advantage, but as you see, maintaining switch advantage for him has worked very, very well. So another Waterfall Gyarados in this battle, and you guys have already seen him play this match out quite a bit. Typically does like to shield early. We did see him let one go earlier, and he actually is going to call an Aqua Tail here. Probably just recognizing that he at the very least is going to be able to force both shields from this Gyarados in order for the opponent to win switch advantage. And does get an early shield there. So my guess is he'll probably commit a shield here, and he does. And I think honestly he could probably get to 2 body slams here and take this Gyarados out if he wants to. He can probably commit a second shield if he wants to, because I do think that the opponent's probably going to get to another Aqua Tail here. We'll have to see. And they actually just let that go, so probably going to shield this Aqua Tail, and then, yeah, he's going to maintain switch advantage. Even though his Avalugg is very low, again, he's committed both shields, but now he has switch advantage. So if there's a Metagross in the back, he can align his Waterfall Gyarados to it, and the opponent's bringing in a Mamoswine, so my guess is probably... We'll have to see what he decides to bring in here. Probably going to bring in the Waterfall Gyarados, knowing it can take an Avalanche. We'll have to see. And yeah, it does do that. And he did get the defense drop as well on the Mamoswine. So my guess is that the Mamoswine's probably going to be wanting to switch out of here. And we'll have to see. Is there going to be a Dragonite in the back? And of course, there's a Dragonite in the back. And Florges is just coming in here to absolutely shut this Dragonite down. Because, again, even if Dragonite is running Hurricane, there is just absolutely nothing that Dragonite can do. And he recognizes that and just fully is going to sacrifice his Dragonite and put it all on the Mamo. Does Superpower there, and as you see, Superpower just does absolutely nothing to the Florges. And now he can just go straight for Disarming Voices. And I think the opponent is probably going to have to overfarm here a ton because his Avalugg's pretty close to a move. So, yeah, the opponent's probably going to be forced to overfarm, and he can just simply get to the next Disarming Voice and just take this thing out. So, very, very nicely played. Again, on that lead, I probably would have been tempted to just let my Avalugg go down since it was so low. But he, again, just recognizes how important switch advantage is and just basically wins the game because he aligns his Dragonite or his Florges to that Dragonite. So, pretty tough one here in the next battle. Facing off into an Excadrill. So my guess is he will probably stay in with the Avalugg here and play this out, because what he doesn't want to do is switch out and then potentially align this to his Florges in the end game. So he's just farming up here, probably recognizing that he's going to be committing multiple shields and going to probably just start baiting these body slams is my guess. And yeah, he is going to bait, and Excadrill's pretty glassy, so my guess is Excadrill probably is going to be throwing up a shield here, and Excadrill does shield. And it's actually looking like that Avalugg here may actually potentially be able to win the 2-shield matchup here, because I'm not sure. He might be able to Ice Fang down, and gonna just play it safe here. I'm not sure if he had been able to fully Ice Fang down. It looked like he might have been able to, but just gonna play it safe and Body Slam. And the opponent, again, is more than happy to just take their shield advantage and give up switch, but depending on what they have in back, that may be a very, very bad decision by the opponent. We'll have to see. They do bring in a Dragon Breath Gyarados here, and if you think about Excadrill on the lead, Excadrill is going to be very weak to fighting, so my guess is that the opponent probably has another flyer in back, like potentially another Dragonite, especially seeing that they have a Dragon Breath Gyarados. It would make sense if they have a Dragonite in the back, and there's the there's the Dragonite, and Florges, is Florges going to force this opponent to quit? We'll have to see. We've already seen quite a few Dragonites top left from this team. And the Dragonite is just hopelessly spamming off these Dragon Claws, trying to burn the switch clock. But there's just absolutely nothing that Dragonite can do here. So I'm actually shocked that the opponent is staying in here. And as you see, DrLuv there actually goes for the undercharge, I think, there, just to potentially try to farm this thing down. And the opponent is just playing this out, throwing Dragon Claw after Dragon Claw, and now, yeah, just gonna throw the Disarming Voice. Doesn't want to take any unnecessary damage, knowing that he can easily take care of this Gyarados because he's already at the back-to-back moves, and I don't think Florges is even in Aqua Tail range here, so yeah, this game is over. He's got this game in the bag, and yeah, just gonna switch into the his own Gyarados here, knowing he's close to the move. Again, knowing a Crunch is not gonna KO, and knowing that they don't even have Crunch, it looks like they're throwing Aqua Tails, and yeah, at this point, he can just Aqua Tail and farm down, so very good game again. And what you guys are also noticing is that the Master Premier meta is extremely limited. There's really just like a handful of Mons running around there, and he's just reading these back lines because, as you saw, he actually didn't bring, he brought his own Gyarados into that Dragon Breath Gyarados. I might have been tempted there to bring in my Florges, but he just knew that there was a Dragonite in the back. So real quick, that was his 4-1 there. And I actually was wondering if you guys noticed, he did not see any Metagrosses or any Metagross leads in these sets. So I was actually wondering how he dealt with a Metagross lead, and then he actually sent me a bonus battle featuring a Metagross leads just to show us how it's done if you face a Metagross. So this is the last battle, and as you see, pretty much the worst possible lead for DrLuv here. And we'll have to see how he decides to play this out, because his Florges does not want to see this in back. So it looks like he's actually just going to stay in, and probably it looks like he's going to commit some shields here and probably just try to get this Metagross as low as possible, because what the opponent will probably recognize here is that since he's staying into a pretty bad matchup, he's probably going to try to switch out at some point to preserve this Metagross to try to line it up to his Florges. So as you see, he does let the first one go there, the opponent, but my guess is that the opponent is probably going to shield this. And to be honest, I don't know the Ice Fang counts for Avalugg, and the opponent didn't either, and they actually shield a Body Slam. And as you see, even though Metagross is going to comfortably win this matchup, he actually gets it extremely low, which is very nice for his Florges. And that was actually a CMP tie. I believe the opponent's at the back-to-back here, but he actually shields his very low HP Avalugg, and potentially is going to force the last shield. Yeah, because the opponent had a Meteor Mash stored and did not want to give up that energy. So brings in the Gyarados, and the opponent pivots into a Garchomp here. So like I said before, the opponent is recognizing there that he's weak in the back since he stayed in. So they bring in their Garchomp, and my guess is that there's probably going to be a Dragonite in the back, because that would make a lot of sense. Metagross double Dragon. Metagross would be the best answer for fairies from the opponent's line. And the opponent is very wisely safe switching in here to draw out this Florges. So likely what's going to happen is he knows that his Florges is basically going to get Meteor Mashed here. So he's just kind of stalling out the switch clock here, I think, by undercharging these moves. So he builds up here, and he's very close to another Disarming Voice. So this is just going to force that Metagross probably to come in right away and Meteor Mash him, and that's exactly what happens. And if there is a Dragonite in back, then his outraged Gyarados here should probably be just fine. And sure enough, there's the Dragonite in back. And normally, this would be at GG, but since he's running Outrage here, I think this Outrage might one-shot the Dragonite. We'll have to see. Dragonite is bulky in the 50s, and it does nearly one-shot, and I think that he should be able to survive this Dragon Claw. And then the Metagross is like one waterfall away from being KO'd. And very nicely played there by DrLuv, taking out a Metagross lead and getting the win. So you guys saw some very, very high-level plays there. Sorry, just trying to repeat the first battle again. You guys saw some very, very high-level battles there by a very skilled opponent. And as I said before, this man, as you see, is in the 3300s, excuse me, and is currently on the leaderboards running this team. So if you guys are looking for a very strong team to run in the Master Premier, I would strongly recommend this team, because really, if you can keep switch advantage, you're basically going to win every game if you can have alignment. Obviously, not everybody's as skilled as DrLuv here, but with some very careful play and careful alignment, this team can put in a lot of work. So thank you so much for watching. And again, thank you so much to DrLuv for sending me these battles. I was absolutely thrilled to hear that he was willing to send me some content, because again, if it weren't for him, we would not be watching any battles in the Master League this week. So again, thanks for watching. And remember, if you have not subscribed, please consider doing so, because the more subscribers we can get, the more Pokemon my wife will let me play.